Imagine a jet so advanced, so secret, that even some of the US military's own allies don't know it exists. A machine born in the shadows, built for the kind of missions the government doesn't talk about. They call it the $50 million ghost, and for years it's been hidden from the world. Back in the late 1990s, while the world's attention was locked on stealth fighters like the F-11-17 and later the F-22 Raptor, a silent project was unfolding deep within America's classified black budget programs. Billions were flowing into aerospace labs, and only a handful of people had the clearance to know what they were building. What they were working on wasn't just another fighter jet, it was something far beyond. Rumors began spreading among defense insiders, whispers of a strange triangular craft spotted high above the Nevada desert. No radar signature, no sonic boom, just gone. Some said it could fly across continents without being detected. Others claimed it was capable of speeds close to Mach 6, faster than any known aircraft on Earth. They called it the Aurora Project. Officially, the US government denied it existed. Every time someone asked about Aurora, officials smiled and said, "We have no information on that." But then came the sightings. Pilots reported mysterious contrails that looked like pulsing rings, a telltale sign of experimental propulsion. Satellite trackers noticed unusual flight paths from secret air bases like Area 51. And when a $50 million missing expense appeared in an unmarked defense budget, people began connecting the dots. This wasn't just a rumor anymore. Something was flying, something powerful, something the Pentagon didn't want the world to see. Experts believe this secret jet wasn't just built for speed, it was built for dominance, designed to enter enemy airspace, gather intelligence, strike targets, and vanish before radar even picked it up. It's said to use a revolutionary pulse detonation engine, a system that propels it faster, quieter, and higher than any conventional jet. The technology was decades ahead of its time, and it changed everything we thought we knew about flight. Even today, over 20 years later, the US still refuses to confirm the Aurora's existence, yet reports of strange booms over the Pacific, mysterious blips on radar, and glowing objects seen by commercial pilots keep surfacing. Could this be the same jet, still flying, still hidden, evolving into something even more terrifying? Some say it's been upgraded, part of a new generation of black aircraft designed for global surveillance and rapid strikes. Some even believe it was the prototype that led to the creation of unmanned hypersonic drones capable of reaching anywhere on Earth in under an hour. If that's true, it means the United States has been decades ahead of the rest of the world, and we're only seeing a fraction of what really exists. Every now and then a classified photo leaks or a whistleblower drops a cryptic clue, a sketch, a blurry image, a line in a budget file, and then it disappears, wiped clean as if it never existed. But history tells us one thing: the most powerful weapons are never revealed until the world is ready to see them. So the question remains, what else is hidden in those hangars? What other machines are waiting in the dark, fueled by billions of dollars and built under codenames we'll never know? The $50 million jet the US keeps hidden from the world might just be the tip of the iceberg, a glimpse into a shadow war fought not with armies, but with secrets. Because in the skies above us, the real power doesn't always show itself. It watches, it waits, and when it's finally revealed, the world will realize just how far ahead the United States has always been. They say the most dangerous weapons are not the ones you see, but the ones you never knew existed. Hidden behind layers of classified files and sealed hangar doors lies a creation so advanced that even those within the US military whisper its name with caution. It was born in the shadows, crafted in the silence of restricted airfields like Groom Lake and Area 51, fueled by budgets so secret they were buried under meaningless line items. Billions vanished into research and development, and no one dared to ask questions. The result was something beyond imagination: Project Aurora X-9, the $150 million ghost jet the world was never meant to see. This was not a jet designed for display or for the front page of a defense report. It was built for one purpose: to dominate the skies unseen. Its structure was unlike anything known before, forged from materials that absorbed radar waves and reflected nothing back. Engineers whispered about new alloys, plasma shielding, and propulsion systems that didn't sound like engines but heartbeats of thunder. Rumors claimed it could reach speeds beyond Mach 6, high above the Earth, where satellites struggled to focus. To the naked eye, it was nothing. To radar, it was a ghost. At night, test pilots would take off under cover of darkness. Locals near Nevada desert spoke of strange flashes in the sky, trails of blue fire that vanished before anyone could grab a camera. Some called it alien, others said it was impossible. But those who knew, those few behind the steel doors, understood that Aurora X-9 wasn't alien. It was human brilliance, unchecked and unreported. It was America's future, built decades ahead of time. The truth is, even allies didn't know. The U.S. government never confirmed its existence, never denied it either. A question in a Senate hearing would be met with silence, a faint smile and the phrase, "No such project exists." But the evidence was there, a mysterious boom over the Pacific, a triangular shadow caught on a pilot's radar for less than a second, a classified photo leaked and buried within hours. Something was out there flying faster than any known aircraft, leaving nothing but questions in its wake. Some believe Project Aurora X-9 was more than reconnaissance. It was a weapon, a machine capable of crossing borders, striking targets, and disappearing before the enemy could even blink. Others say it was an eye in the sky, built to monitor every corner of the globe, invisible, unstoppable, and always watching. It blurred the line between machine and myth, fact and fear. And if such a jet exists, it means the United States has been operating decades ahead of every other nation, writing the rules of aerial warfare in complete silence. Even today, the whispers continue. Strange contrails appear where no aircraft is lost. Booms echo across oceans without explanation, and deep within the desert, lights still flicker above the sand before fading into the stars. Maybe Project Aurora X-9 was retired, or maybe it evolved into something even more terrifying, an unmanned version capable of reaching anywhere on Earth in less than an hour. History has always shown that the most powerful secrets are hidden behind denial. The Aurora X-9 could be that secret, America's invisible guardian, or perhaps its silent sword. Because while the world watches what flies in the open sky, the real power lies in what moves through the dark, unseen and unheard. The $150 million jet that the U.S. keeps hidden from the world isn't just a story, it's a reminder that the future of warfare is already here, and it's been watching us all along. They say technology always pushes the edge of what's possible, but sometimes a creation comes along that doesn't just push the boundary, it completely destroys it. The Project Aurora X-9 wasn't designed by ordinary standards. It was built to go beyond the limits of human engineering, beyond the reach of modern physics as we know it. While other nations were racing to perfect stealth and speed, America was quietly building something that would rewrite both. Deep in the desert, under cover of darkness, a group of engineers and scientists worked on a machine that didn't obey the usual laws of flight. It didn't roar into the sky, it whispered. It didn't fight the wind, it became one with it. The Aurora X-9 was said to move faster, quieter, and higher than anything the human eye could follow. At speeds close to Mach 6, the friction of the air alone should have torn it apart, yet it held together. Its surface was rumored to be built from a compound that could absorb and redistribute heat, glowing faintly in shades of blue when it reached its top speeds. Pilots who claimed to have seen it in motion described it as watching a ghost tear through the clouds. No sound, no trace, just a shimmer that vanished before your brain could process it. For decades, experts said no aircraft could fly that high without losing control, that human pilots couldn't survive those G-forces, but the X-9 wasn't bound by those limits. It was built for the impossible. The propulsion system was the heart of its mystery. Instead of the traditional jet engine, it reportedly used something far more exotic, pulse detonation technology, a system that fired controlled explosions in rapid succession to generate extreme thrust. It didn't sound like an engine, it pulsed like a heartbeat, leaving a trail of energy patterns so strange that radar couldn't recognize them. Scientists believe this gave the jet the power to accelerate and decelerate almost instantly, making it untouchable to missiles or tracking systems. To the world below, it would look like a streak of light across the sky, gone before a radar operator could even call it in. It wasn't only speed that made it extraordinary, it was the silence. A craft that could cross continents without creating a sonic boom, a machine that could glide through the upper atmosphere unseen. At such speeds, even the smallest vibration could mean disaster, yet the Aurora X-9 moved as if it were weightless, guided by computers that calculated 1,000,000 adjustments per second. It said that even the pilot's helmet was integrated with neural feedback sensors, allowing the craft to respond almost as an extension of the human mind. The higher it flew, the more unreachable it became. At the edge of space where Earth curves into darkness, the X-9 could survey entire countries in a single pass, capturing images sharper than any satellite. It could appear above a hostile territory and vanish within minutes, long before anyone could react. To enemies, it was a myth. To those who built it, it was a triumph of human evolution, proof that mankind could command the sky not just with strength, but with silence. When you think about the limits of flight speed, pressure, temperature, gravity, the Aurora X-9 breaks them all. It exists where ordinary jets would melt, where pilots should black out, where even the air itself becomes too thin to breathe. That's why they call it beyond human limit, because everything about it, its speed, its stealth, its silence, feels like it was made not by us, but by something far ahead of us. And maybe that's the real secret of the $150 million ghost jet. It wasn't just built to fly high, it was built to show the world that the impossible has already been achieved. They called it the sound of silence. But there was nothing peaceful about it. When the Aurora X-9 took to the skies, it moved in a way no human had ever witnessed. There was no roar of engines, no thunder of afterburners tearing through the air, no sonic boom to betray its speed. It was silence, pure, chilling silence. Across the deserts of Nevada and the black skies over the Pacific, it passed like a shadow that even the wind couldn't touch. Pilots flying nearby spoke of the eerie stillness that came before the craft appeared, and the way the world seemed to hold its breath when it did. In those few seconds, the sky felt different, almost alive, as if the very air was bending around something that shouldn't exist. Traditional jets fight the atmosphere, punching through it with force and noise. But the Aurora X-9 was different. It didn't fight the air, it slipped through it. Engineers had somehow created a machine that could manipulate airflow itself using advanced aerodynamics and plasma shielding to eliminate drag and silence its passage. The result was a jet that could move at hypersonic speed without ever breaking the sound barrier in a detectable way. It crossed entire continents in minutes, and yet the world below remained unaware. No one heard it coming. No one heard it leave. Imagine a weapon that doesn't announce itself, a machine that doesn't warn its enemies or reveal its path. In the silence of its flight lay its deadliest power. It could appear over hostile skies, gather intelligence, or execute a mission, and vanish again into the black, leaving nothing but confusion in its wake. Satellites couldn't lock onto it, radar couldn't find it, and the human ear couldn't detect a thing. For every second it was airborne, it was rewriting the rules of warfare, proving that the most powerful sound in the world could in fact be silence. Scientists and aviation experts who studied the unexplained booms that rippled across the Pacific in the 1990s began to suspect something extraordinary. These weren't normal sonic signatures, they were faint, pulsing waves, almost rhythmic, like breathing. Some believed they were the result of Aurora's unique propulsion system, one that didn't combust air in a steady burn but detonated it in rapid pulses. That was the key. Instead of creating one massive shock wave like a conventional jet, it broke the sound into controlled vibrations, each one absorbed by the surrounding air. The effect? Total silence. To this day, no one has officially confirmed how the Aurora X-9 achieved that kind of acoustic invisibility, but the theory stands that its engines used plasma to shape the airflow around the craft, essentially cloaking its noise before it even reached the ground. That technology would be decades ahead of anything public, yet the sightings and the data match too perfectly to dismiss. The soundless jet existed and it flew where others couldn't. Those who have heard it, or rather not heard it, describe it as unsettling. A silence so deep, it felt unnatural. The kind of silence that carries weight as if the world itself pauses to listen. When the Aurora X-9 flew overhead, animals went still and electronic signals briefly flickered. The air grew tense, charged as if aware that something immense had just passed through it, and then just as quickly it was gone, leaving behind nothing but stillness and mystery. That is the true terror of the Aurora. Its weapon was not its missiles, not its speed, not its stealth. It was the absence of all of it. The ability to operate in total quiet, unseen, unheard, untouchable. The sound of silence became its signature, its shield and its sword. While other nations chased power with volume and visibility, the United States mastered invisibility through silence. Because in the new age of warfare, the loudest thing on the battlefield isn't the explosion, it's the silence right before it. Money disappears all the time in government budgets, but this was different. In the late 1990s, an unexplained $50 million quietly slipped through the cracks of U.S. defense spending. No project number, no documentation, no trail of approvals. It was listed under a vague line item called aerospace development, and then nothing. The paper trail ended. It was as if that money had never existed. But insiders knew the truth. It hadn't vanished. It had been buried. Somewhere deep within America's Black Projects division, the funds were being used to build something the world wasn't ready to see. That money was the heartbeat of Project Aurora X-9, the jet the U.S. keeps hidden from the world. For years, analysts tried to decode the budget sheet. They traced supply chains, contract payments, fuel orders, and raw material shipments. They found gaps, strange, unaccounted for movements of titanium, advanced carbon composites, and high-density alloys, the kind used only in spacecraft or experimental prototype. The timing matched reports of strange triangular crafts sighted near Groom Lake. Coincidence? Unlikely. The deeper they looked, the clearer it became that something enormous was hiding in plain sight, powered by billions that had no official record. Black budgets aren't new to the U.S. government. They've existed for decades, funding stealth programs, surveillance satellites, and weapons that remain classified even after their replacements are retired. But this one was different in scale and secrecy. The $150 million allocated to research seemed to vanish into a maze of subcontractors, fake shell companies, and encrypted transactions. Each one led nowhere, like doors closing behind the truth. Even senior defense auditors couldn't trace it, and those who tried were reportedly told to stop asking questions. Some of those same auditors later resigned without explanation. Rumors began circulating inside military aviation circles. Engineers whispered of a jet so advanced it could travel from California to the Middle East in under 2 hours. They said it could climb higher than any known aircraft, faster than any missile could chase. A machine invisible to radar, powered by an engine that didn't exist on record. That's where the whispers of Aurora X-9 began. It was said the jet was the result of years of secret investment, the direct product of those missing billions. The theory gained strength when satellite data showed unusual air disturbances over restricted testing zones, not aircraft disturbances. Something moving faster than any known object, too small to be a spacecraft, too structured to be natural. It became clear that whatever the missing money funded, it had taken flight. The silence from Washington only added fuel to the fire. No denial, no confirmation, just the familiar phrase, "We have no information on that program." But for those who understood the game, that silence was confirmation enough. Over time, reports surfaced of whistleblowers, scientists, pilots, and technicians who had allegedly worked on the project but vanished after speaking out. Some mentioned a propulsion system that could tear the fabric of the air, generating power without combustion. Others hinted at plasma containment chambers and energy fields that rendered the aircraft almost invisible. None of it was verifiable, but all of it pointed to one conclusion: the $150 million hadn't disappeared. It had been transformed into something beyond imagination. Even today, no one outside the highest level of clearance knows the full truth of where that money went. But one thing is certain: the missing billions gave birth to something extraordinary. A craft that redefined the limits of flight, a machine that never officially existed, and yet left a shadow across history. Some say it still flies today, testing new technologies above the clouds, far from civilian eye. Others believe it has already evolved into something far more advanced, a prototype that paved the way for hypersonic drones and orbital surveillance crafts. Whatever the truth is, that missing money represents more than secrecy, it represents power. The kind of power that can shape the future without ever being seen, because in the world of classified defense, money doesn't vanish, it transforms. It becomes metal, fuel, and silence, and in that silence the ghost of Project Aurora X-9 still